Are we alive? Are we live? We are alive, but are we live?
Of course we are.
Let's see. I'm not seeing it.
I know this lag time thing really throws you off, doesn't it?
It used to be so immediate.
We made Kajabi for you.
Good morning, people. I hope we are live here on the page. Just looking to see if everything's working. Welcome to the Thursday. And I'm not showing live on anything. Let me check one more page here.
Yeah, let me see if I can see anything live.
Folks, you know, the energies are a little bit strange, haven't they been since 2020?
You know, there's so many changes going on in the world, you know.
Hey, we're live. Good morning, folks. It's Nicole. Welcome to Soulful Illumination. We are live.
Yay!
A little bit of lag time. Good morning. Good morning. I have a guest with me today, and I'm going to bring her in here, and you can see her, this fabulous Beverly Zimet, and we'll be talking in just a moment. I want to go through a little bit of housekeeping before we get into it. Now that we are live and everything's working, blessings, blessings. Nicole Borghi, your enlightened enchantress, and I am coming at you from a bunker near Area 51 in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am so glad to be here on this new moon, great intention day. But before we begin, a few little housekeeping things, folks. I want to share with you some blessing oils today. And what does this oil have to do? Well, you know what? It's got rose petals in here. It is amazing. And it has, let's see, Beverly, it has, you know, my fellow blender is on with me. That's great to have a light worker here. It has bergamot, frankincense in this beautiful oil, and some other blends in here. And this is an anointing oil for prosperity. And the reason I bring it on is the show today is sponsored by doTERRA Essential Oils. And it is such a beautiful thing to have an anointing oil, because when you anoint yourself, you can also, you know, hey, your crown, your third eye, right? And your heart space. There's so many places you can anoint yourself, but when you're anointing through the chakras and you're opening your heart space, you are igniting your energies. And this is a prosperity blend that I am giving away to 10 lucky winners at the Heart-Filled Seminar this weekend. It is on Saturday the 13th. And it looks like I kind of lost my page, so we'll talk and I'll bring that up a little bit later. There'll be some more information that I will put in the chat, so be sure to check it out. It is put on by Trisha Trixie, and she's putting this Heart-Filled Summit on, and she is such a blessing and a ball of energy. And there's some fabulous, great speakers, but in order to get the times and see all the speakers that are sharing such valuable information, you're going to want to go to Eventbrite and register. It is free, and I'll put that information up in just a minute, because, you know, hey, it is 2021 and we are having some glitches. So I'm going to bring my guest in here today, Beverly Zimet, and she is in outside space. You are in.
Always in outside space, right? You said it was a full moon.
It is a new moon.
New
moon. So it's the day to set those intentions and bring in that intention. I don't know about you, but I started my morning off. I woke up 2:30 in the morning and did some meditations. I took an anointing bath and just soaked up the intention with some blessings in that water and some oils, and just soaked in that and just meditated in that beautiful bath of blessings and high energy, and did some more meditation. And of course, I worked out a little bit because I wanted to put together my intention for this month. What is my intention going forward? I even write down, I love to write it down on a little piece of paper and bring that intention towards me, you know, fold it towards me, and just light that with a candle that I'm adding for the blessings, and a little candle magic. So I got to compound everything that I can, right? because you want to do as much as you can in any ritual when you want something to happen, and put some empowering statements together. You know, we talk about statements all the time,
Right.
and it is so beautiful when you put those statements together, you put the intention together, and you just set this kind of on blazing, you smudge it in the air and just let that intention go out to the universe, right? And just have that blessing of the day, and come on here, come on this beautiful show and share it with magical beings, and talk about opening the heart space and really committing to yourself instead of what? Sabotaging.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, I love this word intention. Okay. And with the new moon, you know, and building that intention. But it's like every day. You know, what is your intention for the day? What is your intention for your personal development? What is your intention to help others? And what is your intention for business? You know, what's intention for your living, you know, experience? All of these different things, you know, intention covers a broad arena just like space does, right? So
Yeah.
when we start looking at that word intention, and sometimes we do it, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, the majority of time our intentions go unrecognized because of our thought processing. So your thoughts and the ones that you think about on a consistent basis, whether it's conscious or unconscious, is an intention. And it sets you up for success or failure, depending on what that focus is. What is the energy you're feeding your thoughts? Because your thoughts are intentions, whether
Yeah.
you label them or not, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's you know what, you know, and I also, you know, I look at it like, hey, subconscious, it's, I thank you for being there and helping me through my journey in life, but I'm going to let you take a little break right now. I'm going to let you take a little break because you've been working really hard, and I want you to take a little vacation. Here's a ball, here's some toys, go in the corner, subconscious, and stay over there. You need to take a vacation. You know, we kind of need a vacation from one another, right? Um,
Right.
and to say, hey, go ahead and stay to the side, take time off, because you did a good job protecting me from myself, right? That's kind of what the subconscious does, doesn't it? It tries to
It
protect you
does.
from you.
Well, it's taking, you know, information from old database, old events, you know, where you maybe needed that protection or there was fear based, whatever the case is, someone else's perception that, you know, you were young and so you paid attention and now you're not in that field anymore. You're not in that situation. Yet that old program keeps on coming up and coming up and coming up. And so again, it's how do I change it? How do I shift out of that? So like you say, all right, subconscious, you know, go take a vacation for a while. You
Right.
know, who's running this show? You know, and again, you look at all the events that go on in your life and with business or just in fun times, relationships, whatever the case may be, is it running you? Or are you running it?
Right.
Right? So you might have a very successful business, but you have no free time to enjoy the benefits that come out and result either financially or whatever the case is, you know, to actually enjoy because that business is running you or that household is running you. So we talk about boundaries. We talked about imposter syndromes. We talked about sabotaging. We talked about identity. So all of these things, when you start looking at them, they all fit in the system. And
Yes.
so, right? And again, systems work. People don't. So
Yeah, that is so true.
so how do we put together a system that's going to work for us because it's individual, but there's all the pieces and parts of a system are what run the show in automation, so to speak. But you have to know, you know, what systems are you going to put in place that are going to align with who you are and the outcome of what you're looking to get. Then things will start to flow and happen in a chronological order
Right.
that puts you in the driver's seat, right?
Right. Right. You know, and it's important to know that you're in the driver's seat. It's not your
It is.
subconscious. It's not the people around you. That you are ready to take the initiative, take ownership, and say, you know what? After you've surrendered to the universe and say, okay, I'm ready to drive the vehicle of me. I'm ready to take that temple and take flight. Where are you going to take that little Merkaba? Where are you going to fly to? Where are you going to go? And how are you going to share it? Exactly. Exactly. And how are you going to share that? How are you going to show up in that vehicle?
Right.
How are you going to put that absolute intention and desire instead of lack thereof, right? We're just an empty bucket. Sometimes we feel like an empty vessel coming into this and saying, hey, I'm setting the intention for going forward, but definitely the system, because, you know, that's so important. This weekend, I'll be talking about passion, purpose, and profit, because we all have that passion. But what truly is that passion? Can we make it a purposeful passion that we can share with others as a coach, as a jewelry maker, in business, as a speaker? How can we utilize the strategy and really commit to a business plan? Because, you know, hey, I'm an enlightened being. I love working with energy as a crystal Reiki master and a psychic. And you share that same thing, but it's finally that aha, you know, that angelic moment where you're like, oh, I have to run a business professionally. There's the professional hat that I wear. And then there's the woo-woo hat that I wear, right? You know, and how do they kind of merge together? And that's it. When you finally, you know, for me, I knew about it in theory. I understood that it was there, but didn't quite grasp that point of how to put it down, how to work that plan, how to put it back. And I had to look at, oh, okay, I have to look at my past experience that has brought me here, and not just totally forget my past, but utilize when I worked with a team, when I was a leader, when I was a manager, when I was in, you know, law enforcement. Utilize the strategy that works, the strategy and the plan. What strategies and plan, once you have that foundation, then you can put the house on it. Now you could do whatever in your house. You could party in your house, you can meditate in your house, you can have your family in your house, but you got to have that great foundation. Otherwise, nothing works. You have to have that balance, right? The crown and the root, from root to tip. If you're not rooted, then your business will not profit or prosper.
You know, and that's part of that also understanding what your assets are and really recognizing those assets so that you can put them into that system so that they can run. You know, and again, we talk about, you know, who we are, what our identity is. And you have to remember how you show up in here is how you show up out there. Right? Because we're a reflection of everything, and it is all about energy. And so knowing your identity and believing in yourself and trusting in yourself and building that confidence, you know, so what you're going to be talking on, you know, this weekend, you know, that purpose. How are you going to know what your purpose is if you don't understand what your assets are so that you can put your assets into play to fulfill that purpose, that outcome? You know, and that's all again about how you're showing up within who you are, your identity to share, and what it is that you have to give to the world. And once you can give it, you can receive it. And that's an exchange, you know, which turns into profit. And profit doesn't necessarily always mean money, right? Now, money is a subject a lot of people don't want to touch on, but you know what? It's what makes the world go round.
You have to, you know, we don't all have something to barter anymore. You know, I don't have a truck. I can't move your stuff. I don't have animals. I don't have a farm. I don't have plants that I harvest that I can exchange with you. So now it's in money. It's in that energetic money form. And it makes our lives easier because now I can have a beautiful exchange with whoever and whatever, however we want to.
Well, that goes back to that, to those assets and that your intellectual property, shall we say, right? You know, how do you display and how do you shine in that energetic, energeticness and that intellectual property? You know, you can have all the information in the world, but if you don't put it into action, it's not worth a dime. You know, so again, it's that exchange and that understanding and that clarity, again, putting it into the system so that it can go out there and run like a well-oiled cog on its own, right? And it is that exchange, that exchange, that exchange.
And we're constantly exchanging. Money is an energy. And being a person that talks and exists and works with coaching clients, I talk about energy. Money is just that. It's another energy. And in order to accept that, you have to open up to it, right? And that's just so big that we need to realize that if we're in business for ourselves, we are in business to make money and prosper because we are our own boss. We're our own manager. We're writing the checks now to ourselves. Right. So somebody has to take that role, and that has to be you in a business. And it's such a big, it's so deep. It goes into the inner child and the shadow, and realizing that as an energy worker, hey, I don't have to give everything away. I don't have to give my time. I don't have to donate my soul, to reciprocate. I have to open myself up to receive it. And that's the blessing that to share with everybody. The blessing is to say, hey, if I can do this, if I can conquer that, if I can smash that imposter syndrome, then you can too. And I want to share with you how to do that. And that's what we're in business for as coaches, is to help people prosper, to identify where their pain has manifested into their life, or the experience has manifested in their life, so they can open that up to receive.
Yeah, so very, very true. And again, it goes back into that exchange. Your intellectual property, if that gives a direction and a guidance and an outcome to the person that you're working with, then the exchange will follow. And that's usually, that's where the money comes from. That's the exchange. So it, again, how you perceive and how you are received all begins from a reflection from what happens inside. Right? How do you set yourself up? How do you expose yourself? What is your intellectual property? It's not about what's in it for me. It's what's in it for them.
Oh, huge.
Yeah. And again, how do you know what's in it for them? Unless you ask, what is it that you want? How can I serve you? What is your greatest want, your greatest desire? And the interesting thing, what we want sometimes isn't really necessarily what we need. But if by defining the want, which is kind of out there in space, it's a result, the things that we need to get to there are the things that we don't know how to ask for because we don't know what the how is. So when you define the want, then it's coaches and people that are in that industry that can give you the fulfillment of that want by sharing with you what you need for the system to work.
Right.
Right.
And being in that point of loving desire for it and receiving and opening up, and being able to say, hey, because if you as a coach in your business can do it, then you can share that strategy that you utilized and teach it to them. And it's just an ever moving vehicle that we are sharing with the world. We want to share it with everybody, coming from a place within the heart. I want everybody to be served and to receive their riches and their abundance and to manifest. And in order to do that, it has to be reciprocated back and forth, and give those clients, hey, what do they want? How can I serve you? I'm here for you, and not donating everything away.
Right. Well, you mentioned something at the very beginning here, intention.
Yeah.
Intention is closely connected with your want. So when you get up in the morning, before you start setting your intention, ask yourself, what is it that I want to accomplish today? What is it that I want? Not that I need. It's what is it that I want?
Right. Definitely not from the place of lack. So your desire,
Yeah.
even for some people, it's even to say, I desire, because you feel that passion
Right.
within that, and you're not coming from a place of lack, and to be empowered.
And I think there's a fine line between the want and the desire.
Yeah.
So when you say I desire something, how does that hit you and how does that make you feel? Because sometimes when you say I desire something, it's like, well, am I good enough to have it? Or am I being greedy? Or, all kinds of different connotations on that desire thing, right? And it has kind of a nasty taste sometimes. So start to distinguish the I want, or am I being selfish? And again, all that is what old database from the subconscious coming up to say, oh, well, hey, don't be selfish now. You got to share. And
Right. And that's something deep down in, in our shadow self and us, that
it's an old
we
belief,
have been
right?
programmed with, since we were young.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that. And that's that work, that's that clearing and kind of reprogramming work that it takes to understand why you feel lack, or why you feel that there's, you don't have the ability, or you shouldn't receive it, or you feel guilt or shame taking it. Why? For me, it's opening up and being available, having people be available to me. And that's a bottom chakra. It goes down from the solar, the solar plexus, sacral, and through to the root. When I feel that no one's available, or do you feel that money is not available either, so you start to equate that personal belief to someone,
Right.
to money, or to your business, or to clients, or to love.
Well, too, Nicole, that kind of takes us into and actually a 4-week course that you and I are going to do here, on understanding, again, the systems and the workings of the consciousness and the subconscious and the higher consciousness, how it relates to the brain, how it connects with your energy ports, all of these different levels of understanding, and how you can begin to recognize and start the deprogramming of the old database of, it's not just something that we created in our beginning of existence in this physical avatar we're walking around in. It's what comes down through your DNA. It's what comes down through civilizations. It's what's the energy. We talk about energy. It's the energy that we're attracted to out here in the universe, that we're impacted on a consistent basis. And we've all heard that we live in a negative world. Whoa. Well, you know what? We do. There's a lot of negative energy out there, but there's a lot of positive energies. Positive negative is a force.
Yes.
It's a force. And so again, it's interpreting, and what does it mean to be negative? What does it mean to be positive? It means that you need both levels to be able to align. It's just like this light switch. It's just like being on this camera, right? If there wasn't a negative and a positive charge coming in at different levels and different points, you would not be able to hear us. You would not be able to see us. And we personally wouldn't be able to function in this human avatar that we're in, for the simple fact is we are an electric magnetic being.
Yes.
We have both positive, negative forces. So it starts up here in this 6 inches called the brain. not the mind, the brain, and how it interprets and functions everything that is motorized within your body, your nervous system, your organ system, your hormones. Everything is impacted by a positive and negative charge.
Right.
Right. So, what the program that we're going to do is called Reset Your Mindset. So when we
Yeah.
look at all the things that we've been talking about, how do we reset that? And sometimes it's hard to reset that mindset because you don't have a clarity and understanding of how it functions from your spiritual level to your mental level to your emotional level to your physical level and then to a soul cellular level. So this 4 weeks is going to go into the science of each one of those levels, how they work together, and how now you can overlay one on top of the other, communicate on a whole different level, and begin to soar in the identity of who you are to show up in the manner of who you are, which goes back to the what you're going to share at this summit, right?
Well, that's the true self, right?
Yeah.
You're waking up right now. You know, for me, I believe, and I know you're on that same path. Really believe that this change in energy, the change in the energy field is opening up. There's portals opening, the veils are thin. It's
Yeah.
we're really opening up for our energies to excel, to find the wisdom, that ancient wisdom within us, going deep into those Akashic records, some of that past life experience, and putting it forth to today, even with the starseed children that are being seeded throughout the planet, and seeing that wisdom, we are all different magnetic points of energy bouncing off each other, and we will
Right.
reprogram the earth. But we have to come with that balance and that true self program and identify where we are, but understand that we still need to function. And so finding that loving connection and that perfect balance when we're on earth, functioning in life, living our life here on this planet. We're not meant to just live up here in the cosmos, right? And we're not meant to really be on that third dimension on the planet alone without our soul in just our empty meat suit. But we're meant to align it together and prosper here, live long and prosper on the universe, right? In here, in
Exactly.
heaven and earth together. And it's all balance. It's all this male female balance. It's not just about the woman, it's about the masculine and feminine uniting.
And again, that goes back into the energies, right? So when you talk about masculine and feminine energies and that alignment and becoming whole brain, becoming whole body,
Mhm.
becoming whole mental, becoming whole spiritual, becoming whole cellular, right? So when you look at that, so you've got your masculinity, which is your positive force, okay? But that's your strength.
Yeah.
So now we go to the feminine energy, which is the negative force, which is the power. Okay. So when you take those two and put it together and your power is equal to your strength, you become
Mhm.
whole. And there's a saying, behind every successful male is a powerful
Female.
female. So that's the energy. We're not talking what your gender is. We're
No.
talking energy.
No,
Okay.
no, we want you to know and understand that how beautiful in your solar plexus and your sense of creation that you can have that courage and that strength. And you guys, if you go to my YouTube channel and you go to some of those playlists, you'll see I have some beautiful things coming out about that solar plexus chakra. It is your creation. It is your courage. It is your self-worth. It is your empowerment, but you need that balance, because
Right.
if you just go off the chain with one, you can get too destructive in one form or the other. And healing that and utilizing and kind of honing that, use the force loop
Right.
and bring it into that your center power ball and have that existence out there. So it's very powerful to see that, and it works so well. But you know, right now, that really that shakeup and kind of that energy. I know I did an interview last night. It's a beautiful interview, but you know, we had talked about right now healing this right now, and that pain on the planet, and that anger on the planet. And I wish nobody to be in that anger, because I've been there, and I know how deep down that anger hurts, because you're running around and you're activating that form of you that you have to be heard. You're going to do whatever, however, and take that power that you have and just conquer the world. But who are you really fighting but yourself?
Right.
You know, you're putting that anger out there, but you know, and how do we turn that around? That's through, I believe, the acceptance of understanding who we are and our worth, because for so long we have not embraced our emotions.
Right. I want to capitalize a little bit on that anger, because that was my driving force, you know, as well. And again, anger can be destructive or it can be constructive. So we talk about positive, negative energy. It's where are you directing that? Because you could feed positive energy, like, you know, into an electrical current, but it will not create a light until you hit it with a negative charge. But it has to be in the right consistency.
Yes.
Right. So what happens is when you take anger, because anger is a very, very powerful negative charge. Right. And then again, it's knowing where you want and what's the outcome. So if you have your outcome here, this is a positive outcome you want. Right. And here's that negative force of anger. And if you are living in the space of this anger and being the victim or the martyr or the survival, it's up here. And what's it going to do to that positive outcome you want? It's going to drive it into the abyss.
Force it right back out.
It'll just drive it down. It'll bury that. Now, if you take that same scenario, here's the outcome you want, and you take that negative charge and you put it here as your driving force to get there. You talk about confidence, you talk about courage, you talk about the wants, the desires. It's going to go this way and move you into the ecstasy. So again, where are you placing the charge? What are you feeding the information that's coming into the brain, into that thought, you know, and all of that going on? Are you feeding it to drive it into an ecstasy, or are you driving it into the abyss of depression and nothingness? That's the question that needs to be answered. So negative and positive is not good and bad or right or wrong. It's the direction in which you drive the vehicle with those two energies. And when you can align both inside of you, bring yourself into the oneness and the wholeness, not only are you one within in your own physical avatar, you are now one with the universe. You are one with the divine. You are one with the all-knowing of all that is.
Yeah.
And it's being open to that. So know where you're feeding the direction you want to go. Are you feeding it this way? Or are you feeding it this way? Right.
But that's so powerful, because your direction, where are you going? It's being aware. We can write down whatever we want in our journal, and we can say all these wonderful affirmations, which I love, and have empowerment statements, but you've got to do the work behind it. And you have to have the sense of awareness.
Yes.
To say, here's where I am now. I am present. I'm open. I'm here. I'm ready for this beautiful, to accept it, this beautiful energy and change. But as you accept it, you need to move past that, and constantly every day, where is your energy at? Is your energy field? Are you putting the correct energy back into that intention, that affirmation, that strategic plan? Are you aware of your space? And for so long, I know I've done it. I wasn't spatially aware of what's going on around me. I don't mean being aware of just the fear. I mean being aware of your changes and what are you thinking? What are you saying? So if you're still in that pain point and that negative energy or that anger, what has gotten you to that point where you're saying, okay, I got here, I'm angry, or I'm attracting this type of person with this energy that I feel is negative. What are you doing, saying, and how are you getting there? What is the situation that has brought you there? And that's
Right.
deep within your shadow, because you are mirroring what's inside of you. You are mirroring and attracting those people to you. So you can learn that lesson. It's not to say that you're wrong with what you're doing or you're bad with what you're doing. It's to say, be aware of what's going on so you can juxtapose and pivot when necessary and heal and move forward. Or just to know that, hey, it's not unnecessary for me to even interact. Maybe I
Right.
don't even have to interact with that anymore.
Yeah, it's what you're feeding it. So, you mentioned a couple things. You have your past, you have your present, which is the now, and then you have the future. And that's this third dimensional existence and alignment. Again, it's this triad. So, when you look at your past, you can either exist in it, bring it into your present, which then your future is going to look exactly like that. But
Right.
when you can start to recognize and acknowledge that, wow, if I take where I've been and use that to drive me to stay present in my now, have my vision of what my future wants to be, and take that past
Yes.
and drive us from the now, it will drive you into your future, right? Or
Right.
it will drive you into remaining in your past. So if you want that future vision to come into reality, you need to be present in the now, drive yourself in that direction, and then it goes back down into right at the beginning we talked, well, what's the how? Where is the system? Let's get you into a system that's going to give you the how to. And I know each and every one of you have heard this. It's not about, it's about being here present. It's about knowing where you want to go, and the how will just happen. Well, you have to be open to receiving and listening for that how. But again, it works on the systems. And when you understand the level of the system, the hows will show up. And that's kind of where when you have that complete understanding of how all of these things work together, now you can pay more attention when the how shows up with, because you'll know what to listen for, what to watch for, what to feel for, what to smell
Yeah.
for, what to taste for, because we live in a see, touch, taste, smell world.
Huge. Our senses should become heightened as we open up. Our senses become
Exactly.
heightened
Yeah.
as we become aware, and we are woke. We are woke. We are awakened to that spiritual reality. But be aware. Don't hide from it.
Right.
It's be aware. What are you looking at? You want to kind of sometimes detach yourself and say, okay, I I'm going to utilize my empathic ability to feel into emotions and detach where my emotions stop and the next person start, so I can see, is that a match? Am I
Right.
aware of how we are synergistically working together? Is the situation working in a harmonious balance? Or do I need to say, am I aware enough to acknowledge and recognize and say, you know what? This situation is not for me. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, thanks, universe, for this opportunity. It's just not working out now. I'm going to go somewhere where I can serve. I am needed. I can rise up, and the people around me will rise with me and be in that community consciousness where we can all grow and be empowered, you know, and working together, instead of, if you're stagnant, just like at the gym, if you're plateauing at the gym and you're doing the same exercise and you were building muscle and you were toning, and all of a sudden, you know what, you're just missing that little definition, or you want to get a little bit more weight. Well, you have to say, okay, what is it? Is it my food? Is it my sleep? Is it the workout? Maybe I need to change it a little bit.
Maybe it's your thought processing.
That's it too. But if you have a good strategy and your thought process is in the right direction and you're aware of what's going on, now it's time for a positive change, because you're never going to change and rise up to where you want to be if you don't recognize what's going on.
Yeah, and don't settle for less. And let's talk about that energy again, and that magnitude, right? Magnetic. So all thought is magnetic. All thought is magnetic. So when you look at the database of information that's stored in that subconscious, that is actually playing on autopilot, and you just respond, boom, 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 and you don't even realize it because it's become a personality trait. But when you start to wake up and start paying attention, now you start seeing this activity and you're like, oh, what the heck? Now what am I supposed to do, right? And that's where the fun begins, when you can recognize that. But I want you to remember one thing, because it is magnetic. All thought is magnetic. When you're in conversations and you're listening to people, when you're in this low point of poor little me, you know, and, you know, I had this event happen to me and now it's impacted my life. You know, I was 5 years old. At 5 years old, it was an event. 10 years old, it was an event. It's what is you're feeding that, because you're listening to what other people are talking and saying about it. So you are attaching to those thought processes. So it takes this little event and turns it into this massive mountain that now is like, oh my gosh. So remember this: 5% of what you store in your database is truth and belongs to you. 95% is someone else's perception you attached onto and stuck it in your database, that's causing you to respond in a way that you don't want to. There's that word, that you don't want to. So when you can recognize that, that's the beginning. And when you can acknowledge that, well, 5% of that's my truth. Okay, I believe that. You got that subconscious 5%. All right. So you're right. That's our truth. And all this other stuff doesn't serve a purpose. And that old database doesn't serve a purpose anymore. Now you can surrender and you can release it. That's where the magic begins to happen. When you start to understand how, again, the system and the order in which you do to back it off and to free yourself from that charge that's feeding you this way, to turning it this way, you know. And now that you have eliminated that old crap, you can replace it with, what's your new belief? What's your new alignment? What's your new truth? What's the courage that's going to take you to that, you know, that outcome, that futuristic vision that you have? Then you accept that as your new truth, and all of a sudden your autopilot starts responding differently. And all of a sudden you're going through this transformation. It's not just a change, you're going through a major transformation. People are going to start asking, what are you doing? You know, what'd you do with Nicole? She's not the same anymore. What the heck?
You didn't have to manhandle her to get her to change it. You have to shake it, right? Listen.
You know, you can start looking at yourself and saying, wow, you know, I think I really love this new me, right? Because you learn how to love yourself and you learn how to like yourself and you learn how to accept yourself. You stop judging yourself. You become the identity of the soul essence of who you are. And that's what's powerful. Right? That's what's powerful. So if you want to learn more about that, you know, reach out to Nicole or reach out to me and we'll share with you this whole reset your mindset thing and on how you can get these systems in place, and you can start this action to get results in 30 to 60 seconds.
Oh, it is so powerful how quick.
Right.
It's like, whoa, okay, that's done, gone. And you don't need it anymore. You don't have to sit there and go, well, maybe. You're not in that monkey mind. You're like, well, maybe. You get it now. You feel it now. It's just like pausing and praying, that quickness of bringing that light within into you, into your auric field, and to say, okay, I'm here. I'm ready. You have surrendered to the universe. You're there. It is so quick. And that's what so many people talk about with manifesting, is how quick it comes to you. But you have to put the work to get that to ignite. You've got to ignite that intuition. You've got to ignite your.
And that's that acceptance of who you are. It's the acceptance that, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. Okay. God doesn't make junk. Okay. So you're not junk. And as soon as you can get over that. So like I had a friend of mine years ago, just get over your bad self. And it's like, wow, that's an interesting way to put it. Because again, we look at, do we have a good self or do we have a bad self? And we're taught that way. This is good and that's bad. This is what you're supposed to do and this is what you're not supposed to do. Right? So all of that is there. So if you're going to look at a bad self, the uncourageous, the whatever, the little rebel, the little troublemaker, it's like, okay. So your little sabotager, look at your little sabotagers being your bad self. Ha! Get them out of there, right? So it's
like, like I said, just put them to the side, let them go play.
Yeah, go play with yourself and have a good time, right?
You take a break because you did your job. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. You took over, but now I'm awake. Now I'm here and I don't need the babysitter.
Right. And it's not about making this a drudging, event. It's make this fun. Make it fun, because when you do, it lightens everything up. You talk about getting your energy up there and staying high on that high vibration. Those lower vibrations just disappear. So the more fun you have, the more fun you want to have. The more aligned you become in those supercharged energies. Now you're getting that balance of the negative and positive forces that make up the whole universe. And you want to get into the science and into the psychology. It's all about the force. And what drives the force? A negative and positive charge. So align your negative and positive charges where they're going to feed and move you in that forward direction. Right?
Huge. And you'll just take flight. You'll feel your angelic team there. When you're allowing that, they will just kind of push you on, and you'll just feel it. And they're not forcing you, they're just kind of helping you out. It's that magical team. Yeah. So, wow. It's fabulous. It means so much. And hey guys, really quick, what I want to say is I have posted the Heart-Filled Summit that is up on the 13th. It's a free summit that's hosted by Trisha Trixie, and there are some great speakers on there. So look for that. It is free and it's open to everybody. The Eventbrite page is there, and it's just sharing that, being a part of that, and definitely look for. What is it, Beverly? What are the dates? Did we have that set in stone for the dates that?
For the reset your mindset.
For reset.
Yeah, it's gonna be the 4 Saturdays in April. I think it starts on the 2nd. Right. Yeah, it's gonna be Passport to Freedom. Right? Who wants a passport to freedom? Say I.
Free mind. Yes, a free mind. Free mind rewind, and then just let that out. Folks, if you have questions, you can email Nicole Borghi, Borghi. It was brought to my attention that's probably not a common spelling for people. The last name Borghi at Sabotage Smasher. You can go to sabotagesmasher.com, and all that my personal information is there, so you can reach out if you have questions about this or anything Beverly and I are talking about. And we're working on a new page for Beverly. I am so excited. She's going to be on the Webernet.
Ooh,
And
the Weber
you
net.
will see more of that. You want to like and subscribe to our pages. Go to my YouTube channel and you'll see forgot for a second. Boom. I was talking about everything else. Is the YouTube channel, the links are there and you can subscribe. You will get beautiful content with that about the subject I'm speaking on this Saturday, passion, purpose, and profit, and how to connect that energy and using that new connection and finding that energy within you and that openness. I'll share more. There's videos there. There is blogs there. There's blogs there. There's video. It's in writing. Or there's just a big picture. Hey, if you just want to look at pictures, it's up on the Instagram page. It's all at Sabotage Smasher. Check that out on Twitter and LinkedIn. Go ahead and like those pages. Comment. Let us know what you think and what you're looking for. If you have, we are here in servitude. So if you have something that, hey, there's maybe a problem or an issue or something that you just can't wrap your mind around or maybe quite understand where the changes you're going through, just hit us up, ask us a question, book a discovery call with me. It's complimentary. And go in there and say, hey, let's do a coaching call. Let's craft you a plan to get you to ignite in your true self, to hit that ignition and say, hey, I'm ready to take flight. I'm ready to find out who I am. Go there, book that. That's totally free. You can find so much on my page. Also, my book, Conquer the Imposter. Subscribe to Sabotage Smasher and you get that free book. It has got some valuable information in there. And there's so much more that is coming up with these classes, with books, and look for those things. It's on video. Facebook, I will be doing a Facebook Live next week, Wednesday and Thursday, some information, and I'll be talking more about passion, purpose, and profit and imposter syndrome, and giving you tips and tricks to say, hey, I can make my life easy. I can be in ease. I can prosper. Go forth and prosper into the universe and have a successful life. You're meant to be in success mode. You're meant to be abundant. You're meant to be happy and aligned, right?
Right.
I would say that, and it's so beautiful. Also, if you subscribe to that newsletter at Sabotage Smasher, I will be sending out some valuable information about the class that's coming up with Beverly Zyma. And, as she said, hey, that brain, not your mind, but your brain and your heart, your soul will ignite. You'll come together holistically and be like, what? Awesome. You'll be in that awesome, fun state of mind where you just rock it and you just be like, I got this.
Right. We're going to be doing a lot of shows, individually together. And we're going to talk about a lot of the obstacles or the limiting beliefs, some of the challenges, some of the, understanding. It's like, what's getting in the way? What's getting in the way of really bringing together the mind, the spirit, the soul, the cells, the cells. This is what gets kind of like always forgotten. You have physical cells, but you also have soul cellular memory.
Yes.
Right. And so we're going to really put that together in a format that is going to be so clear and so powerful. And the last week is going to be the biggest aha moment for everyone, because we are going to give you 5 steps on how you can take all the information that we shared with you in 3 weeks of uniting and how each one overlays and plays a role, and put it into action. You will not leave this workshop without the know-how and the experience of it, because we are going to be doing it right there live. So anyone who has a concern or a challenge or something that they just can't quite cross over, we are going to start eliminating, so you can actually feel the power of how this works, because now you have at least, you have an understanding of it. And that's the power in it, right? So leading up to all of this, you're going to have all kinds of information, all kinds of food for thought, and what the outcome is going to be. Because you know what? If you don't get an outcome, then why are you doing it?
Right.
It's like, why are you signing up for all these free classes? Why are you signing up for all these free summits? Why are you signing up for all this free content of information and then doing nothing with it?
Yeah.
So
You have to implement it.
and is it really free? Again, you have to ask yourself that, because it's not free. You are giving up your time. But are you really getting the how? Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense, but how do I put it in? I don't know how to take it in there, right? How many times have I've said that myself, right? I don't know how to do it. Give me the instructions, as known as the destruction. How many times have you bought something, Nicole, and instead of taking the instruction manual out and reading it, you just kind of put it aside, so I'll just figure this out, and then it's like, oh crap, this doesn't quite look right. Then
I built a rabbit cage backwards by doing that. I built a rabbit cage for my daughter and put some of the doors and stuff in backwards. I made it work though.
Right. Okay, so there it is. I made it work. So
I made it work, but it wasn't functionable.
Yeah. So that's the difference. Does it work, and how functionable is it? So when you get through this Reset Your Mindset course, you will have that outcome. Yeah. You will have how to use it in the manner that it is very constructive and functionable consistently every living moment of your life. And is it free? No. And the reason why it's not free, because your time is valuable. Yeah. And when you can value your time, then you will bring valuable to us. And we are going to give you every single thing that you need for clarity, understanding, action, and the main thing, how to. And you get to experience the how to for the whole thing, the whole session, the whole 3 hours on how to do it. So you're going to have that repetition. So there'll be no excuse. And you'll also have the form. You'll have all the systems in place. I'm excited. I'm excited to take my own program.
I'm thrilled. I'm like, oh, buy me a seat. I need to get a ticket, but I'm working it with you. But I have, people, if you don't know yet, Beverly is still a true mentor of mine, and she's very powerful, and she has helped me align with those tools and that energy force, and to bring this class together. And it's so great. I know that you will receive that change. And we are wrapping it up right now, because I'm looking at the time, and by gosh, did it go quick, Beverly?
It always does, and we're together.
Where can people find you? Go to Facebook at Beverly Zimet and watch the show. I know that for sure.
Right. I'm all over social media, just under Beverly Zimet. I'm the one and the only. So
common spelling.
And too, they can go to the beverlyzimet.com, because that, what did you call it? Web of something is going to be there.
Webinar. The Webernet.
The Webernet is going to be there. So Thank you so much, Nicole. It's always an honor to spend time with you.
Bye, guys. Love ya. I'll see you next